Now let's get right into this of what's going on with silver, gold, the tariffs, Trump, stablecoins, and the changing of the economic future of the United States and of the world, actually. Now, now the economic collapse, financial news, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Bank of the World Economic Forum. You can see that Trump, at this point in time, he's putting all the pieces together to change the entire economic landscape because once again, he's creating a new economic system, a system that is going to be outside of the central banking system. And very soon, what Trump is going to do, he's going to start the restructuring of the old system. And the old system includes the Federal Reserve System. This is why he's putting together stable coins. This is why he's talked about auditing the gold reserves. Now, this is why he's created the tariff system as well. He's created the energy sales system. He went and freed Venezuela. The people of Venezuela are very happy for this. Some people don't understand this. You might want to listen because I got a lot of these types of details that are going to benefit you in the future. Now, this is why he's in the Middle East as well. He has the Abraham Accords. This is why he made the deal with Indonesia. And he's doing all this because he's putting all of the pieces together to go up against the most powerful entity that we've known today. And it's definitely not armies around the world. It is the central banking system. That is what he is fighting. And yes, through the central banking system, we have the deep state players. They get their funding from the central banking system. They get their instructions from the central banking system. And Trump now is setting everything up to combat this system and basic structure restructuring in the end. And you could see every step of the way the deep state players. They're going to try to stop him. Anybody that is stepping up and trying to stop him when it doesn't make sense, those are the players. And you know exactly what he's doing. Now, if you look at it, you can see Europe is heading in what direction? They're heading in the direction of the Green New Scam. They're heading in the direction of the agenda that they set out with the deep state players, the central bank set out for them. They're going to continue to do this. They're going to fight them every step of the way. Anybody's bringing up bogus court appearances for the United States government to step into because Trump wins 99% of them, of all these bogus claims that you see having to make it all the way to the Supreme Court, which means their economies are going to get worse around the world every single day. Meanwhile, Trump changes the landscape here in the United States. You got to be seeing it. You're going to see the economy get better and better and better. I mean, a very good example of this is all you got to do is look within the states and you see those states, those blue states that are following the deep state, the central bank agenda. You look at New York, you look at California, Oregon, Washington. Now, these states, you can see that they're completely imploding. Now you can add Virginia into this. And yes, there's many other states, but you can see that every time they try to implement something and they follow the deep state plan, the agenda, the economies in those states completely, utterly fall apart. You have Kathy Hochul from New York State, the governor. Look what she's doing. She told everybody, you don't like it, get out. Now she's begging them to come back. All these blue states are falling apart, and they force what the people out of their states. And those states Where there are job inflation is low fuel prices. Low because, again, the red states are doing the opposite of the blue states and is moving in the direction of using oil and gas, nuclear, coal, fire plants, fusion technology, moving away from solar, wind, and everything else that's green new scam. And if you look at Europe, if you look at UK, France, Germany, you look at all these different nations, Australia, New Zealand, they're all following that same crazy new green scam. They're following the path of the green new scam for sure. And what's going to happen is their systems are going to start imploding more and more every day. And they're begging for people to come back. And this is why the IMF is coming out with their warnings, because they're letting us know that the systems are falling apart. And remember, if they don't have the support of the United States, it's game over for them. All you got to do is look at Canada. Why do you think there are so many people moving from Canada to the United States? Now, it's been reported in many areas. I try to not push my research unless I have enough evidence for me to believe and feel comfortable that what I am telling you is true. And this is what I am seeing. Most productive Canadians who are fleeing Canada to come to the United States or other countries, third world migrants, up 90% of Canada's own population growth. Population replacement at warp speed. Why would they leave Canada if Canada is so great? Why would they flee? Because once again, it's just like the blue states. It's just like what's going on in Europe. They're destroying their own systems. And yes, they're following DEI. And they're following the Green New Scam. Every one of them. Are they continually enslaving the people? Absolutely. And when you look at, let's say, the DEI, for example, you can see that DEI practices, they produce productivity. Now think about it. They were really pushing that here in the United States and other places too, because what they were trying to do, and they were trying to divide the people. They were trying to bring the worst of the worst into certain positions. You have the worst people in those positions that really don't have the skills. And what's going to happen? Productivity is going to fall. That's exactly what we've seen. And there was a report that was ordered by the Trump administration, and it actually showed that, yes, productivity completely imploded with the DEI. The cost lead the companies practicing DEI to hire fewer people and pay their workers less. DEI policy actively encouraged employment discrimination, according to the report, which cited fourfold growth in the percentage of minorities holding management positions between 2016 and 2023. During the same period, industries that adopted the DEI protocol were 2.7% less productive than industries that avoided the culture shift. And Trump has ended this right now. You have to ask yourself a simple question. Why do they do this? Because again, if you're pushing the United States and all of the other countries into third world nations, and you're shifting the production, manufacturing, and everything else out of the countries, and the countries we're going to depend on wind and solar, and we're going to produce nothing. Everything was going to shift to China. So this is why they don't care. This is why they put this in place. And you could see at this point in time, those countries that are still following these practices, they're in trouble. Remember, Europe, for example, they shifted their energy sources. They got rid of them. They went wind, solar. They were buying oil from places that, probably suspect at best. They removed their nuclear power plants. The coal, the coal fire power plants, all of it, and now they're having an energy problem. This is why manufacturers are moving out of the countries. Trump put this out and said Europe is desperate for energy, and yet the United Kingdom refuses to open North Sea oil. And one of the greatest fields in the world, tragic, Aberdeen, should be booming. Norway sells its North Sea oil to the UK and doubles the price. They're making a fortune. UK, which is better situated on the North Sea for purposes of energy than Norway, should drill. But it's absolutely crazy that they don't. And no more windmills. President Trump, now, if you notice, Trump continually warns the European nations, stop doing what you're doing. It's going to be a complete and utter disaster for them. Now, we all know Wall Street doesn't lose money on sell-offs. You do. They create the panic. Wait for Trump, or wait for you to dump your position out of fear and scoop it up at a discount. Now, the big banks aren't selling their gold. They're buying their gold and silver. They're buying yours. Every time the headlines scream, regular people sell. Every time regular people sell, the institutions are right there waiting to open their hands. You build portfolio insurance for a reason. Don't let a red day hand it over to the people who cause it. That's why I tell people to keep whatever you have, don't sell, and definitely, if you can, buy more. I know it's more than it was a year and not even a year ago. June 2025, silver was at $30 an ounce. I tried to get people to understand. Many people thank me because they listened. But you know how crazy it is coming from someone like me. Who am I, right? I got long hair. I look like a biker. What does he know? Well, I've been doing this for a long time for myself and my family. But I think I've done very well for myself and also my friends. And now that people like you are my friends as well, and I do appreciate you leaving comments, trying to build a show, and I'm trying to also help people while doing it. But you have to remember those installed puppets that are running the country. They're taking their instructions from the deep state, the central bankers, and they're telling you to do this. But every step of the way, what is Trump doing? He's not doing what they're telling him to do. He's doing the opposite. And you should as well. Whatever the deep state says, do the opposite. And I'm sure you'll come out in the end as a winner. And think about what Trump has done right now with the choke points. He's now controlling them. He's making sure we control the flow of energy. Observing consciousness. Put this out and said, look at the map again. Not as routes, but as pressure points. Hormuz, the Strait of Malay, Suez, Panama, the Boss, the English Channel, and every artery of the global trade sitting in plain view. Now feel the shift. When those points begin to align, flow stops being random and starts becoming directed. What you are watching is a simple template forming where the busiest lanes on Earth move inside one coordinated system. shaping the rhythm of the global trade in real time. Absolutely. And when you have that, you control all of the choke points. When you have control of the flow of vessels, you have the control of the flow of energy, and you control it all. Trump is a master chess player. And this is what Trump is doing right now. He's making sure that everything is put into place to shift us away from that of what central banks and the deep state players were planning on for us. So yes, he is shifting everything away from China. Yes, because they were planning to bring everything to China. So now he's shifting it away. Now they don't get the cheap oil from for manufacturing. This is a major, major problem for China because, again, the companies that manufacture, because energy was very cheap. You pay people pennies on the dollar, and that's what's going on in China. But Trump wants an even playing field. Trump has now implemented tariffs on these companies. Do you think they will stay in China? Absolutely not. Not with the tariffs are set in place. They will eventually move out because what's going on is what's going to happen. Energy is going to become very cheap here in the United States. The problem is it's very difficult because if you noticed, oil, gas pump, the gas at the gas pumps is going up. Yes. But you have to understand how oil has been manipulated for multiple years. What's going on are because of fake oil. I call it fake oil because they're derivatives that actually are used to manipulate the price. And you have OPEC that puts their fingers in there and their opinions. My opinion, that's my opinion, of course. But there are certain things that tell you knew when Trump went into Iran, the price of oil was going to go up. Everybody knew it. Unless you're under a rock. And it's going to go back down. But the United States is drilling, and they're going to drill more. Trump is easing the regulations. Biden made it very difficult. He made it so certain areas are not able to be drilled. Well, Trump is finding ways around that. Energy is going to become very, very cheap here in the United States. Just has to get around some of the loopholes that the Biden administration put in place. Well, remember, we produce oil. China does not. China has to get their oil from all different places. The United States can, what Trump states, drill, baby, drill. And we can bring down the prices dramatically. Plus, there's tariffs. There's no tariffs on us. No tariffs if we do it. So Trump is removing the regulations. Plus, Trump is removing taxes. So he's making it very, very easy for companies to make the shift, to make the move. And I do believe eventually that's going to happen. He already has obligations from businesses around the world. And also, we're seeing trillions of dollars coming and flooding into the United States because of these tariffs and also the deals that are made because of the tariffs. And think about it. All the doomsayers who are saying, oh, look what Trump is doing in the Middle East. This is a disaster. Oil prices are going to stay high. Inflation is going to skyrocket. It's going to be a disaster for years upon years. And, well, it's not as bad as everyone thinks it is. It's because the deep state media is pushing their propaganda. Actually, it was a lot worse under the Biden administration. But did you hear the fake news talking about that? No. Did you hear about the financial pundits talking about this? No. Did you hear about the Federal Reserve talking about it? Absolutely not. Muses put this out and said, Despite the Iran conflict, March 2026, U.S. PPI rose 5.5% month over month, and well below the 1.1 consensus forecast, a huge relief for inflation monitors, including the Federal Reserve. So there you have it. So what is Trump doing right now? He's building a cohesive American first economic system that integrates energy dominance, protectionist tariffs, crypto modernization, genius clarity plus clarity act, and capital attraction immigrations, gold cards, and forced reshoring designed to supercharge U.S. manufacturing, sustain dollar hegemonies, and make the real economy less reliant on federal monetary policy. It echoes historical presidents who prioritized industrial nationalism and sound money levers over central bank dependence. Remember Andrew Jackson's war on the second bank and William McKinney's tariff driven manufacturing boom, plus gold standard stability. So, what has Trump done so far? Well, record U.S. production. The SLOC leveraged Venezuela, secured pressure on Iran, and export push LG oil. Coal deals with allies like Japan. This creates the U.S. centric pricing and flow mechanism. Oil sold in U.S. dollar terms while denying cheap, reliable energy across it to adversaries like China via choke points and tariffs. It buffers domestic inflation and fund growth without heavy federal intervention. Sweeping tariffs, Section 301, Section 232, and energy policy explicitly aimed to raise costs for China's manufacturing, forcing supply chain relocation to the U.S. and allies. Steel. What we've seen so far, steel revival, pledges of trillions of dollars and reshoring foreign investments, and some factory announcements. Through China adapts via third country routing, which Trump is now shutting down, the Genius Act and Clarity Act. And by the way, the Genius Act is already signed. The Clarity Act, yes, it's paused in the Senate, but I do believe that will move through very, very soon. So the Genius creates the first federal USD stablecoin framework. One-to-one Treasury cash reserves disclosed anti-money laundering rules in a digital petrodollar extension that boosts dollar demand globally, and Clarity adds marketing structure clarity. The SEC, CFTC, jurisdiction, split for digital assets, commodities, investors' protections, and innovation rules. Trump aggressively backs both as making America the crypto capital countering banks and foreign central banks' digital currencies. So tariffs plus energy leverage plus deregulations have heard announcements of many factories returning industrial based pledges. Supply chains on shoring critical minerals, steel, autos. It's a measurable shift towards domestic product, a protected energy rich industrial base, plus a digital dollar rails and foreign capital inflows equal higher productivity. Tax revenue and U.S. dollar demand, which is a good thing. So when you look at this entire playbook blends two different presidents, Andrew Jackson and William McKinley. Now, Andrew Jackson, he had a bank war, populist assault on the unelected second bank of the United States as elite controlled. Jackson vetoed, rechartered, withdrew deposits, and centralized finance, leaving America without a central bank until 1913. And remember, Andrew Jackson got rid of the second one, and look what happened. A third one said, you know what? Let's come back in and let's create another one. And that's exactly what they did. So Trump has narrative right now mirrors this. Both use energy resources. Jackson land, Trump oil, and crypto as alternative power bases. William McKinley had high uh, protective tariffs, so to shield and grow U.S. manufacturing paired with gold standard commitment for stability and sound currency. Trump's tariff plus energy dominance plus dollar stable coin framework echo this industry's protectionist pro manufacturing vision, prioritizing factories and American power over free trade. Finance, McKinley's errors, saw massive industrial resurgence. Trump cites similar goals. So Trump is engineering a 21st century Jackson McKinley's hybrid real economy, nationalism, plus digital sound money extensions to restore U.S. industrial primacy and reduce vulnerability to monetary policy whims and or global de-dollarization. By doing all these things, the Fed becomes less central in all of this. Once we have manufacturing, once we have energy exports, once we have the crypto and gold, and we have all of this, what we're going to see is that this architecture is going to be very strong and going to create a new operating system for America. It's going to be a completely different system. And think about it. Trump hasn't even mentioned gold yet. Yes, in the very beginning, when Elon was helping Doge, he did mention he should check into and maybe audit Fort Knox. Should we audit Fort Knox? Trump said. I think, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's audit Fort Knox. Now, the question is, why didn't they want to do it just yet? I do believe that is timing. You don't want to mention gold. You don't want to tip off what they're planning to do. You don't want the central banks to understand what you're doing because remember, the battle that we're seeing right now is going to be very tough battle with the central banking system. Man, it's going to be a fight to the very, very end. And I do believe that Trump is using this card for the very last moment. Because again, once gold reaches a certain height and value, that's when Trump can say, let's go take a look and see if we have anything here in Fort Knox. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have a lot more than we think we do. I wonder if it was replaced somehow, some way. Maybe not in Fort Knox, but maybe in other locations. And if there is a lot more than we think, and Trump decides, you know what? Instead of $42 an ounce, because I don't know if you know this, but gold on their spreadsheets shows it's only worth $42 an hour. And we know what it is today. It's very close to $5,000 an ounce. And I think Trump would be okay with revaluing the gold. I mean, can you imagine if it got to $10,000, $20,000? It's probably going to happen at some point. And if it is at that number, all of a sudden, he's going to have a lot of leverage to start to put it all together. And I think many things have to happen between now and the 250th year anniversary of the United States. I think a lot has to happen. Think about what Trump is doing every step of the way. He's always 100 steps ahead of the Democrats or the demon rats. Depends on how you like to look at it. He's now creating the new system right in front of your eyes. Actually, Kissinger did this back in the 60s into the 70s. He created a new system. Nobody even knew what was going on. No one knew that he was creating a petrodollar system to take us off the gold standard. Trump now is doing the same thing, but he is doing it to benefit the people. He's doing it to remove us from the old system. He's doing it to where not dependent on any kind of a central banking system. This is what this is all about. Here's where the economy is heading. He's creating an entire new economic landscape. And you can see it now. All the pieces are coming together. There's a lot to be thankful for. And I just want to say thank you, Trump. Let me know what you think. If you don't mind, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you're a silver stacker, gold stacker. If you have crypto, let me know what you want to talk about. Try to have a great rest of your day. Be safe. God bless. Try to be patient too.